everybody. Welcome to Badge Banter, where we feature some incredible stories about the value of the ID badge and the importance of it to organizations and how they can better recognize and connect with their people. I'm Lindsay Martin-Nez, our host, and I am super excited to introduce today's guest, Shea Politte of the Found Mission. Shea, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait for you to get to tell your story. Tell us a little bit about the Found Mission and what y'all do.
So at the Found Mission, we believe that every person is worthy of being seen, worthy of being heard, worthy of being known, and worthy of being found. And the main way that we do our work toward that effort is through our Fuel in the School model, where we rally the community to donate hygiene items, school supplies, clothing, and shoes and snacks. And we meet the basic needs of kids on public school campuses around our region.
I obviously love your story and love your mission, and you and I have connected multiple times to talk about it, but can you tell everybody what inspired it and why did you start the organization?
When my oldest son was in sixth grade, I was looking for a way to connect with his school and then just with the community at large. I had a sales job that was going great and I had time to give, and I was excited about doing something where I could relate my heart to the place where my kids were. And so I started serving on their school campus. We had a little classroom. At the time, they weren't busting at the seams like they are now. A little classroom where we were gathering clothing and shoes and all the things I mentioned from moms that had the extra resources to donate those things. And then we were distributing them to kids in need that were on the same school campus. And so you can imagine it's like there's a kid in your kid's class that didn't have a hoodie on a cold day. Well, your kid has 3 extra hoodies in his closet or her closet that they haven't worn in months. And it's like, why wouldn't we want that hoodie to go to a child in my own kid's classroom where they can bring equality brought into the room and a sense of belonging, obviously that value that we hold so dear, which is just worthiness. So seeing that happen on a small scale at my son's school, I just got super passionate about it and thought, I can do this, I can do more of this. And we were in a really, really well taken care of school district out here. And there's so many others that aren't as accessible to generosity. And so I thought if we can take the people's generosity out here at this school campus and distribute it to other schools in our city, we can make a much bigger impact in a very simple way. I mean, it's just basic needs being met on school campuses. And so I kind of ran with it. And here we are about 12 years later.
And you guys work with how many schools now?
Over 100 schools access our resources from here to almost Amarillo, so it's a couple hours away.
That's awesome.
Neat.
That's so cool. Well, I'm super excited about what you guys are doing, and to kind of give it some context, so you and I met at an ISG, which is Identification Systems Group. We met at the fall meeting, and so Badge Pass has been a member of ISG for a long, long time, and a lot of our partners are members of that group as well. And I'm actually on the board of ISG, and as a result, I help plan the annual charity event that we host each year to fundraise for a charity that's close to one of our partners, our members' hearts. Like somebody has a reason that charity is usually chosen. And so one of our partner companies, Diamond Business, is close to you over in Amarillo in Texas. And so they had suggested your charity. And when you came to the event, I can vividly remember it. I mean, it was like 6 months ago now, but I can remember you speaking, and so many things that you were saying were just like immediately resonating and hitting home with me, because I'm like, this is the same message in a different way that we're preaching and talking about on a daily basis. And it's funny when like such opposite things, I mean, like software development company and like charity organization, like totally different missions really, but parallel messaging in how you like want to connect with people. And so a lot of what you were saying, you were talking about the importance of like really developing connections with those kids in the schools and the importance of those kids feeling seen and recognized. And obviously we talk a lot about how we give people the ability to recognize and connect with others through the badge, of course. But as you were saying this, you kept talking about the importance of using people's names. So can you speak a little bit to that and like how important that is, especially in the school market specifically?
Yes, that was a very important part of the process for me. So at the original school where this all started, on Friday afternoons, we would stand there and give out the weekend school bags. And we would receive the little slip from the child and it had their name on it. And I just made it a really big part of our intentionality of what we did to say the child's name, put our hand on their shoulder, and just have kind of a moment of connection there from somebody that didn't need anything from them except to take care of them and to show them love and to extend, sort of a little gift of, we care about you, we're here for you. We're not a coach that needs you to perform as an athlete. We're not a teacher that needs you to get good grades. We're just here because we care, and there's someone in your community that cares. And there's, I know you're familiar with like the neuroscience behind saying someone's name and what it does in the brain, and it makes you feel seen in a way that nothing else does. And it's been said that your name is your favorite, word in the language. And it's so powerful. And I could literally see kids' eyes kind of light up. And so to leave them with that feeling and that experience on the Friday before they went into the weekend and went home to situations that none of us would ever want to experience was quite rewarding, but also really powerful. So the more I learned about the power of a name, the more I leaned into that and thought, how can we do more to say a kid's name, to write their name, to really speak their name, look into their eyes, and let them know we care. It's that partnership with the sort of offering of love and saying their name from somebody that doesn't need anything from them. It's generosity, and it's really powerful.
I love it so much. I mean, obviously, this is how you and I have gotten to be friends, and we've just connected on this on such a deep level. But it translates outside of the school market too. I mean, of course, it's impactful for kids, and I think it almost like hits your heart differently when you're thinking about it in schools, because I always picture, of course, like elementary age students, and you picture like the smallest kid ever. But really, I mean, it's all the way up to teenagers, and then it translates into us as adults. Like, think about the workplace when somebody recognizes you by name or asks you something personal. It's so different than if you're just like a number in an organization. And so I think that it's a universal message, and one that we potentially miss and take for granted on a daily basis.
That's true. I mean, it can completely get lost in the shuffle. And even, the written name and writing it down and being intentional about using it, it just makes such a difference in the tone with which you say it too. And so a lot of these kids are only hearing their name in a negative way outside of the school situation. And so to be a place that's a safe place and provide that to a child on a school campus where they're like, oh my gosh, this is my safe place. This is where I can be me. This is where I'm seen. This is where I'm loved. It sets them up to be able to learn, and to say, these people genuinely care about me. I'm going to tune in here. I'm going to listen. They want what's best for me. And that's invaluable. You can't calculate that. You can't put that on a spreadsheet.
Mm-mm. No, you really can't. And there's so much evidence that then that supports their ability to perform well in school. Like how engaged are students in the classroom? Like we can't track that really, but it increases students' engagement when they feel good and comfortable and like they're part of something, and makes them have a higher sense of well-being and self-worth. And then ultimately that does have an impact on overall safety and security of the facility. But I think that too often we're trying to immediately translate things that we do into like what's the immediate turnaround. And in all of those things that I just talked about, those are like psychological benefits that are honestly really impactful, but very difficult to measure.
Yes. And that is a challenge for us, in a lot of things that we do, because I can't get feedback from a child when we give them a hoodie. And I never would, because I don't want them to feel like a number.
Right.
So I appreciate that you see that. And I'm sure that you'll see the power of that security that you bring every day. But you can't, like I said, put it in a pie chart.
No, you can't always. That's for sure. So let's transition. That's a good turning point. So, I mean, there's challenges for sure in working with schools. And I think that it can vary state to state. It can vary school type by school type. But at the end of the day, like that's a very complicated vertical. Just because it's complex and schools are dealing with a lot of issues on a daily basis, only a fraction of which our partners and us touch on a daily basis, and only a small portion of what you touch on a daily basis.
That's right.
But can you speak a little bit to the challenges of working with schools and what can make it seem so challenging and almost like a daunting task to try to build a new relationship with a new school that you want to work with?
Yeah. Because of what we do, how it's related to generosity and there's not a cost involved, it's hard to build trust. People are really skeptical. They're like, you just want to love on our kids. You really, that's it. That's all you want to do. And so that's been really hard. And I'm sure, each school kind of takes on its own personality depending on the area around it and the different kinds of personalities that are in charge and things like that. And so you really have to be genuine about caring about the people you're working with on every single level, not just the kids that need a hoodie or a snack bag. And so I see the power of a name and how you say it in every conversation, every relationship. But for us, it's been just building that trust by showing up every time, by being people that do what we say we're going to do. Try not to overpromise and underdeliver. Just do, like I said, what we say we're doing. And one thing that I've really learned is to just ask them, what do you need? Because a lot of schools will say we need clothes, but we don't necessarily need snacks. If they're close to the food bank or a food pantry or a church nearby does that, they're like, we have plenty of snacks. And I'll say, okay, what about the clothing and the hygiene and the school supplies? They're like, oh my gosh, that would be huge. We tailor our program to meet the needs of the school instead of coming into the school and saying, we've got what you need. If they don't need it, we don't want to bother them. But overwhelmingly, they do. And what's been beautiful is the longer that they're willing to sit with us and listen and lean in, the more they understand that what we do doesn't just benefit the student that has a need, it benefits the teacher that's been sitting there all day trying to teach kids that are hungry and teach kids that don't have the clothing and teach kids that don't have the supplies. And then we've had teachers tell us, you're giving us a literal raise, because being able to get those items from you for these kids means it doesn't come out of our pocket. And then administrators can see it boosts morale with teachers to know that they're supported by somebody out in the community that cares about public education, that cares about how these teachers are showing up every day in a tough situation and loving the kids that truly have nowhere else to turn. And then they're expected to learn algebra, when they're hungry or cold. And so it supports all of those areas. So it's almost like a sales position, right? Like you sit with a school long enough to understand, what do they really need? Okay, how does what we do meet that need? And how can we tailor what we do to really check the boxes that they're trying to check? And once we get in the door, they see that, love changes people, and it's really a lot simpler than we make it. So it's been a challenge. It really has. But at the same time, I've learned a lot. I've grown a lot personally too. And just being able to sit with people in hard places and say, we're just here to show generosity, and we're here to rally the community behind you guys, because what you're doing is literally what's changing the next generation. You're literally raising the next generation for us 8 hours a day, and they're undersupported and underappreciated. And so once you can kind of connect right there, then I was going to say smooth sailing. It's not quite smooth sailing yet. It's a lot of hard work, but it's so worth it. And we see the fruit of it every day.
No, I agree. I'm very passionate about K through 12 schools. It's my favorite vertical that we work with. And for so many reasons. Some of it is just that you have kids in school, and so you always picture your own kids, and you remember, fondly like the schools that you went to growing up. But also I think it's just something that you can immediately see tangible results and like the benefit when you visit the school again and you see your systems in use. So I too love this market, but yes, it's not without its challenges for sure. Of course, like what y'all are doing, like this is just straight up generosity, and you are just there to help, and you're not usually looking for them to purchase things from you necessarily. Instead, you're just looking to work with them. So for our partners who are selling solutions and implementing systems, usually not for free, to schools, like what would your biggest recommendation be for them as they approach schools in how they manage those relationships and those opportunities?
I think you can never go wrong by just showing up with a heart to encourage. And I don't know any other group of people that needs it more now than educators, people in education, people making decisions for, public school systems and I'm sure private too. I know y'all work with them as well. They're carrying a huge load, and I'm sure it's even greater as it relates to security, because the expectations on them are so huge. Mm-hmm. And so anything you can do to just listen and lean in and offer that encouragement to them right where they are, and kind of that sales pitch that it works for me. It's really not a pitch. It's my true heart. It's, you listen to them, you hear what they're saying, you try to offer encouragement, you make them feel heard and seen and valued. Mm-hmm. And then you say, oh, by the way, if this is something that you feel like would benefit you, here's what I have. And I see that it would be a great fit. But it's kind of that, oh, by the way, at the end, which is maybe 20% of your time together rather than 80%
yeah,
of selling. And so I think you really have an opportunity there just to show genuine care. And you guys have set that up so beautifully, because the people I met through ISG, I was like, they get it, that these are real people with real problems, and you have a real solution for that. So I would think that it would only just be about, kind of tailoring that conversation to listen and learn. And like I said, what are the boxes that you're trying to check? And then y'all have the product.
Yep. I love that. I think anytime you do good listening, you have better results. So that's great advice. I appreciate that.
Sure.
Well, we will now transition to my favorite new segment, which is Badge Blitz. And so in this segment, what happens is we're going to have 60 seconds. I have an old school analog timer here to keep us on track. And I will hit you with some rapid fire questions. You're going to answer them just by going with your gut reaction. There is no wrong answer, though we may judge you if we disagree with your opinion.
Fine.
But no, they're supposed to be super fun. You're going to answer in one sentence or less. So these aren't like trick questions or long-winded answers. And let's see how many of them we can get to. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, game on. What is the first word that comes to mind when you hear the word security?
Safe.
I like it. What is the most overused phrase in meetings or emails?
Oh, what is it? I'm thinking the most overused. Circle back.
Oh, that's the one I thought of too. Totally with you there. All right, if you could swap jobs with anyone for a day, who would it be?
Absolutely, it would be you.
Me!
What? Yes, 100%.
Oh my God, we're going to come back to that. If you did not run Found, what job would you have?
Ooh, it would be some kind of fun, creative sales job. I got to travel all over.
What is one thing that you think every organization should do to increase their security?
Ooh, build trust among the team.
I like that. What's the last book you read?
Ooh, do I still answer?
You can
it?
still answer.
It's Beautiful Outlaw by John Eldridge.
Okay, good. Did you like it?
Love it. Eat it up.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. Hopefully that was a fun lightning
I
round.
could have gone on for like 5 more minutes.
I know. That's why you only get 60 seconds, or else it wouldn't be a blitz, I guess. We could
Fair.
do it all day. Well, Shea, thank you so much for hopping on with us. For anyone who wants to learn more about the Found mission and what y'all are doing, how can they find you and connect with you?
Thefoundmission.com.
Perfect.
Super simple.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate you. Thank you so much for hopping on with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
It was a lot of fun, and I'm sure we will connect soon. But for everybody else, we hope you'll join us next time as we take you beyond the badge.